So first exercise to give you sort of a simple test on do I have adequate strength to hold up to a decent amount of mileage this summer and fall. Single leg squat. What you want to see when you do this, as you go down, you want the knee to stay pointing straight forward and the hips to stay pretty level. In fact, I'll tuck my shirt in the front here so you can see that. When you go down on a single leg squat, knee pointing toward you, hips level. What I see in the majority of people is the knee folds inward and is facing that way, and the hip drops. So that's tilted down. So for every female runner with anterior knee pain, patellar tendonitis, just patellofemoral pain, and God, that's a lot of them, that's usually something we can come back to. So squat strength and hip strength sort of measured all at once. Simple test. If you have a problem with that, there's some specific exercises you should be doing to address it. And this carries over well beyond running too. This is the same thing we look for in girls, especially one of the guys who are at risk for ACL injuries. It's the same kind of hip weakness that sets you up for that position that you tear your ACL in. So lacrosse, soccer, basketball, volleyball, field hockey, and runners all come back to a lot of that same weakness setting you up for injury.
Yep. All right, a lot of coaches have their kids do lunges. And I'll tell you, looking at most distance runners, they don't do lunges correctly or they come back sore the next day. Do you suggest a modified type of lunge, or how should they progress with the lunges?
I like lunges for runners. If you have severe patellofemoral problems, it's probably not something I would start with. But we have the benefit when we're here in the clinic to look at an individual, watch their form, and correct any abnormalities to make sure they've got it right before they go home. If you're in a team setting with 50 or more kids, you don't have that luxury, and a lot may be doing it incorrectly. So the big things are, if you're doing this, I'll give you the side view. When you're doing the lunge, don't let the knee come forward in front of the toes. The more you have your knee in front of the toes, the more stress there is on the front of the knee, the patellofemoral joint. So focus more on going down in that position and keeping that roughly 90-degree angle from the ankle up to the knee and back. Whether it's walking lunges or just static lunges. If you do that and then looking from the front, make sure that knee stays centered roughly over your second toe when you go down, and you're not doing that fade inward internal rotation of the femur. If you control those two things, you're probably safe, but the overall rule is it should be pain-free. If you can't do a lunge without some knee pain, you're not ready to do it yet.
What are the specific muscles that the lunges are supposed to be strengthening?
Quads and hips. Okay, right? And with the hips, it's more hip extension as you are coming up out of it. You're thinking about kind of tightening the glute as you come up. And those are the same muscles that are going to propel you forward when you're running. Hip extension weakness is a big issue in runners. So the lunge is a good way to hit that. There's a lot of other ways too. The lunge wouldn't be the first one. You might need some building blocks before you get there. So if you can do it with that right form and pain-free, you're okay.
Should lunges be a part of the pre-workout or post-workout training program every day for coaches?
That's a great question. I think it could be later in the season. I would not put it in at the beginning of the year, especially if you've got freshmen or runners that haven't done a little bit of base strengthening before that. They're going to be the ones who are more likely to not be able to do it with the correct technique, and could cause some of the knee injuries you're trying to prevent by doing that. So it's one you have to use with a little caution and have to have at least a little bit of time to individually look at a person and make sure they're doing it correctly. So I wouldn't put it in there for everyone.